Welcome back to the REI Agent. My guest today is Austyn Galmarini, a licensed real estate salesperson on the Enos Latif sales team at Hunt Real Estate ERA in Williamsville, New York, serving the Buffalo Niagara region. Austyn came to real estate by way of West WVU journalism degree, a career in radio, and 6 years in sales, including RV and inside sales before making the leap. She also grew up watching her mom build a 20-year plus real estate career, so that this business is both professional pivot and in some ways a family story. She brings a sales background, a communicator's instincts, and fresh perspective on what is actually like to be building a real estate career from scratch inside a top producing team. Austyn, welcome to the REI Agent podcast.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So, okay, walk us through your real estate story a little bit more. You went to West Virginia University?
Yes, I did. I am a very proud Mountaineer. I actually went for television journalism. I wanted to be on TV. At that time, it was kind of like, game day was just kind of really coming about, Aaron Andrews in that aspect. So I wanted a big school. I wanted to see game day. I wanted to see March Madness, all of that stuff. So I left Buffalo and I settled at WVU for 4 years.
Now, is that the university that they burn couches?
You bet it is. I have seen more couches burned. And then, of course, back here in Buffalo, we're a part of the Bills Mafia where they're going through tables. So there's really just something about furniture and the need for it to be destroyed.
Yeah. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of both of those things.
Yes.
I'm not too far away from West Virginia. We're in Harrisonburg, Virginia. So we have had game day a couple times, which is a lot of fun. Journalism sounds like it would have been a lot of fun as well. What took you then into, I guess, RV sales as well?
Yeah, it's life. As I have discovered, it's always gonna be something changing. I graduated from WVU, ended up with a job at 97 Rock Cumulus Media, and I worked there, doing everything that you could think of. So working concerts, everything from doing the check-in for tickets or the prize table. And then I did some on-air stuff as well. And it worked great. I loved it. I had incredible opportunities. I broadcasted live before Buffalo Bills games, before Bob Seger, the Rolling Stones. So I'm really grateful for those opportunities. And it just kind of got to the point I needed something more, financially increase. So I went and started selling RVs. It was a blast. I actually went all over the country. I went to Seattle, Alabama, Atlanta, very small part of West Virginia, Indiana, and also Hershey, Pennsylvania, everything for training. So we were at the manufacturer, so getting to see everything. I mean, you're talking these big diesel pushers, you're looking at the Freight chassis, everything for the Airstream facility, so how it started from scratch. And then we would work the shows as well. The shows were very fast, the high turnaround. Sometimes you have 2-3 deals in a day. So I liked all of that. And it just was an opportunity that fell into my lap. And I did that for a year and a half. And at that point, my breaking point, I had worked a 10-day long RV show. My day off was driving 8 hours back, driving a 33-foot diesel pusher. If you've ever driven a large vehicle, it is the most mentally draining thing. I give truck drivers so much credit because the mental concentration you need to keep those things on the roads insane. So my day off was driving 8 hours back, and then I worked another 20 days straight. And so that I was like, that's it, I'm done. And that was the end of my RV career.
Yeah, no. So I have a quick side tangent. We I was showing a house for I was showing somebody, a former classmate of mine, a house, and she was stuck in traffic coming from like DC, and she's like, "Hey, can my parents show for me?" And I was like, "Sure." And they at one point were like, they knew we both went to this like music festival where there was campers and stuff, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to buy a camper?" I'm like, "No, no, we don't."
Yeah.
Fast forward like a month later, we bought that camper, and now we've been going all over the place with it. And we went really early, like spring break. We did a week, And we drove about 3 hours, so not 8, but 3 hours. And like after even 3 hours, I was like, oh my gosh, like if you go through construction zones, it's more narrow, or like there's tractor trailers trying to pass you. It is stressful. And then on the way back from this 3 hour trip away, we went to another place that had to cross over a steep mountain. And I should have planned better, should have thought better about what route to take. But I swear, when I came down off that mountain, because it felt like the brakes were going to give out, it felt like I was getting pushed down that mountain, and I was so stressed out. My son had my iPad, and he had already thrown it across the truck. It was not a pleasant scene. And then when I tried to park that thing, Erica looked at me like, I need to like go hide or something, because this guy is, it's like,
it's so intimidating. I mean, of course, you're building like great family memories, and you're going to talk about that forever. But in the time, you were probably genuinely wondering, "Am I going to make this out alive?"
I think I heard, I've heard people talk about like, driving down the interstate in general. It's kind of like you're in this constant fight or flight mode. Like you're like, your lizard brain is firing because there's death, whizzing by you all the time. You just take that times it by 10 when you're pulling something. So yes, I'm sure you get more and more used to it, but kudos to the tractor trailer drivers, because it is stressful.
100%. Yes.
So digress. You had enough with your with your RV sales. What is that when you catapulted into the real estate sales?
Right in between that. So I was 20, I think 25 at the time. And I had several friends that were working at a local college in the online division. And there was an opportunity for me, on the phone with the head woman at that time. And I just straight up said to her, I said, I'm available to come in and meet with you tomorrow. What time do you have? And she stopped and she goes, okay, you can meet me at 2. And I came in the next day for this interview, and I met with 2 other sales managers. And looking back at the time, it was a pretty intense kind of interview, because they were like, who is this girl that's thinking that she can just come in and close us? And me, I just really wanted to get out of the position I was in and have a little more stable life. I was kind of looking for kind of that 9 to 5 in that aspect, something where I was just at that point in my life where I was like, when I walk away, when I shut my computer, like it's done type of situation. And I got hired. I worked my way up. I kind of gone where I had felt in the 4.5 years. And then, as life does, my whole life imploded. My long-term relationship ended. So I had to move back home with my parents at 29, which was really great. And that's when I was kind of stuck looking, trying to figure out, where am I going to go from here? What am I going to take the next step? And since I was back at home, I was chatting obviously every single day with my mom, and she's telling me all about, different deals. She's telling me about the team. We're just chatting. So more of my interest got piqued. And then I just kind of decided, I was like, I think I'm going to give it a shot. I said, I had kind of thought about it before. I had said, well, maybe it's something, when I get married, when I have kids, this could be a really good time to do it. And I thought to myself, why am I going to wait for that timeline? Why shouldn't I just go for it now? So I took the test right before, actually, I had just turned 30. I had taken the test, and 2 days later got on a plane to go to Spain to celebrate my 30th birthday with my best friend. Found out in Spain that I passed and got my license, and came back from Spain, put my 2 weeks in immediately, and started my first official day. It was July 1st, 2022.
Okay.
So that's it.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's I think a lot of times people do think of there are people that think of real estate as a career that you do, like maybe as a retirement gig or something to that extent. But it is, it's hard you put in a lot of time and energy and effort until you get rolling. And so it's difficult. And I could see, I'm sure, hindsight now and stuff like that, it would be really hard to start it with, if you're like, I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom, I'm just gonna do a little real estate on the side. It would be really hard.
Never. I give so much credit to the agents that have been doing this for a long time. I give always a lot of credit there, but especially those who then do have a child in the middle of it, because that's a big transition in itself. You're taking, just like a whole personal life transition into this. And real estate, it's not a 9 to 5, it's a 24/7, 365. You have clients that call you on holidays, that want to see stuff on holidays. Late nights. I was texting a client last night, 10:45 p.m. and he goes, "Why are you working right now?" I go, "Well, my bad. I'm always working." So It happens.
No, totally. And I think one of the hard things too is when you have, if you have like a difficult situation that is high stress, there's a lot of maybe emotional oozing coming from your clients onto
Hmm.
you, and that impacts like the home life as well. So like if you do have kids and that stuff, like it can be hard to be present because this kid wants to show you whatever they like just drew a picture or whatever, and you're like, hold on, like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
almost like
Hang
you're
on.
back in that tractor trailer, or you're driving a camper down the road through a construction site. You're like lizard brains
Something.
flying.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
But
But
yeah, no. So what kind of your mom's on the same team? Is that, did I gather
mhm.
that right? Um,
Yes, she was on the team first, and then I joined with her blessing, of course. Had the conversation. I was like, what do you think?" And yeah, of course, she gave the blessing. So it was
sure.
a very, yeah, it just went
And
like that.
what at what point in your life did she start her real estate career? Like, were you in college already, or
No, I was in high school. She actually had started, so yeah, if it's 20 years, so she started in 2006.
okay,
And she was kind of getting slowly dabbled into it. And
sure,
then of course 08 happened, but
yeah,
she still powered through it. My dad, he was in a very stable, solid job. So they always kind of growing up looked at my mom's income from that as like the fun money. So that was what we did, vacations or anything of the sort came from there, since especially in that time it's very hard to get started, and then you have 2008 happen. She still went and she survived and she made it through on her own. She was a solo agent until she ran into Anas, and I can't remember when she joined, but she was able to go forward and still make it happen. So it was a lot of very real conversations with her in
yeah,
regards to what to expect. It's not, of course, what you see on TV. It's not the house hunters. It's none of that stuff. Selling Sunset, of course. So she was able to give me a very real depiction as to what it's like. So I was feeling a lot more prepared in regards. And then my
hmm
first meeting with the NAS, she straight up said, "You need to have 6-month reserves at all time. You need to be prepared because you never know what's going to happen with this business."
yeah, 100%. In the telling of your story, you never really kind of had that. I swore I would never do real estate moment. So uh, that led me to believe that
Yeah.
your mom wasn't like maybe the sole breadwinner for a long period of time, or like as a child, like seeing her go through all the stress and stuff. Because I think that's often what people that like get into the business and follow their parents say is they like, I swear I would never. Always swore I would never do real estate,
Hmm.
and then at one
Yeah.
point or another, like their life happens, and they're like, well, actually, you know what? There was some bad stuff, but like that, that making your own schedule, like there's good money to be made, can be, it sneaks up on you.
Yeah. Plus, when I think I was at that age, so then I was in high school and into college. So once she made it through 08, at that point, I was out on my own in
Yeah.
that regard. So, my brother, he was only 2 years younger than me. So she really was kind of able to be like, all right, I can go and do all this stuff and be working, and I don't have to worry. Like, my children are sufficient. Like, they can figure out how to make themselves a meal. They're not relying on me as much anymore. So I think that also was a really big factor.
Sure.
And then I think, of course, now that we're in it together, I definitely, really do understand it even more stressors. The whole joke of like, your mom says, like, can you make sure you take the chicken out of the freezer in time? Now I fully understand that stress and like that frustration of, oh, I never took the chicken out of the freezer. I totally understand why.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
What strategies and things did you do starting off when you started in 22? Did you do any? Does your team? I remember talking to your lead there. I don't think you guys do. You do any like buying of leads, or is it all kind of prospecting? What kind of strategies did you do?
Yeah, it'd be prospect. I mean, Anas has such a solid career in that regards. Thankfully, I also was kind of at an age where a lot of my friends or acquaintances were also looking for homes. I mean, normally that
Sure.
first time homebuyer age has really shifted.
Yeah.
So there are people in that regards that I kind of was able to go and start in that way. But I mean, it was really a lot of, yeah, like that prospecting, the self promoting, and then once you have somebody and it's successful, making sure you keep up with them to get the referrals in that regards. I mean, it took a very long time to build up my pipeline, but now I think it's more than 75% of my business, probably 80, is all through my COI, my circle of influence, or referrals. So that is, I mean, I think it's actually probably like 80%. I would have to truly look, but now, right now for 2026, that's really what it is for me, at least in my business.
Yeah,
And it
no,
took a
that's
long
awesome.
time to build up.
It can take a little bit longer that way. I mean, I think it depends on, how big your sphere is, how much, if you've been in some sort of capacity that, transfers trust pretty easily to this new career, that can help as well. If you're making the switch, how active you are in various organizations and stuff throughout the community, that can definitely move the needle
Mhm.
as well for how quickly it can go. But it does take a little bit longer. And I think there's always those, that shiny object syndrome where you're looking at, oh, maybe I could increase my sales and do this or whatever. But when I talk to new agents in my team, I always, I kind of look at it the frame of like, what do you want your business to look like in, 10 years when you're really successful, when it's rolling. It doesn't take 10 years, but you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, do you want to be playing receptionist? Do you want to be answering the phone 100 times before you get one, reasonable, good client that will actually close? Is that the way you want your business to look? And it sounds like how you operate is you'd rather be talking to the people you want to talk to, that want to talk to you. And in return, they will want to do business with you.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, of course, there's always, I mean, it's, they say like you got to have a card or be prepared or whatever on you in that regards. Because yeah, I guess I would rather meet somebody and talk to them, whether I'm, out at a restaurant or a network, whatever it may be, anywhere, who knows. I'd rather come off as myself, Austyn Galmarini, first as the human. And then if they decide to work together with that way, because it is a business decision and it is a transaction, all given real true things. So it's important for me to establish that personal connection first to see, is this going to be somebody that we really want together, work together, and then understanding how they are and kind of then how I have to mold myself. If I have to be more than serious, professional, and strict based off of the personality, then so be it. But if it's somebody that I know and I can be, a little more lax, a little more open in that sense, maybe silly, goofy, then that's the way that I, do. It's all tailored to the person that's in front of me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it really just boils down that people will usually work with people they know, like, and trust.
That's
And
that's it. That's it. One of the best. There's two really good pieces of sales advice that I received when I did sell RVs from my manager at that time. The first thing he would say, "This isn't brain surgery. Nobody is going to die, on the table in front of you." Which, if you know me personally, is just like an absolutely insane like statement for all things in my life. But that was always the first thing I would have to remind myself, like, this person's life is not in my hands. It's a little bit in my hands, but the whole entire life is not in my hands. So that's one thing I remind myself. And the second is that when you pick up that phone the first time, they don't know you, like you, or trust you. I mean, it's the same thing. You walk into a store, can I help you find anything? No, because you're like, I don't know. I don't need your help. So it's all breaking down that barrier first and finding a way so they do get to know you, and then they determine if they like you, and then they'll trust you. It's exactly it.
yeah, and obviously a lot of people know a lot of people, or there's a lot of agents out there, and so like a lot of people know 7+ agents, and so it's important to try to stay top of mind and try to
Mhm.
systematically reach out to people as well. I'm curious though, when you were starting off, like, had you probably didn't really, with your mom being on the team, like, considered going solo at all? How's it felt being on a team starting out, and did you ever think like, what would it have been like if I started off, on my own?
I've always been a team player. I've always, not that I don't do well alone, but I mean, I'm always on the phone with my friends in that regards. I'm always social, out doing something. I really never say no to anything. But for me, I also just knew I wouldn't have been able to do it alone. I just knew that I wouldn't have been able to. I was able to fully accept that and I fully admit it. To have, I mean, the blessing of Beth, my mom, and Anas together, it was just a no-brainer. I would have been a fool to say, "You know what, I don't need this. I'll figure it out on my own." It didn't make any sense to me. So I don't care in that regards, because I am thankfully my own entity. People do know
Yeah.
me and recognize me for me, whether that's based off of how I've literally branded myself on social media or just because they know me and that's how they met me without having Anas's name tied into it. So I just looked at everything and to me, it just made more sense. And the biggest thing is I liked the human being that was in front of me that is Anas Latif. That was, again, once I got to know her, I liked her and I trusted her. So we got through it.
There you go. No, that makes a ton of sense. And yeah, I think it's oftentimes people, well, there's YouTubers and there's people trying to get people onto various brokerages. There's commission split structures, all this kind of stuff that is thrown out there. And it's definitely a consideration, but at the end of the day, like if you go and if you're making 100% commission, and you don't sell anything, like, does it matter?
No. Or do you have 100% commission and you do 4 deals in the year? Okay,
And
that's sure. If that's, you know what, there's something out there for everybody. And I respect it. I respect the people that are solo. I respect the people that are on the team because it's a business decision for you at the end of the day. You have to do what's best for you because only you know what's best for you.
yeah, and yeah, obviously, I'm not saying I have any idea what your commission split structure is, that kind of thing. I'm not asking. It's just, I think thinking about what's going to actually make you successful in the business, what's going to give you the best chance of being successful is what's important. And I think once you have a really good business that stands on itself, then maybe you start thinking about those kind of things. But until that point, like set yourself up for success, like do what makes the most sense and try to, fast forward through mentorship, through trainings, through education, through whatever it might be, that path to success.
Yeah. And I'm on a team with people that I trust, most importantly. So if I go on vacation, I'm able to communicate with somebody that I know like knows what's up. They can handle it, will be good with my clients, take care of them in that
Yeah.
aspect. We do a lot of things like Anas is really good about team bonding stuff. So we have team pickleball days, we'll do team happy hours to celebrate birthdays. There's normally always like a team's giving. So there's normally something every single quarter where Anas gets us together and it's not work. It is something outside of it that gives us also an opportunity for us as a team to come together to even solidify those relationships anymore. That was actually how I met Anas and the team at the first time. It was a holiday party and they did gingerbread houses, contest. And I had to be the judge, which was also very intimidating. But I got to see them all in a personal level. And for me, I said, yeah, these are people that I can be around. These are people that I'm enjoying hanging out with. I literally don't even remember all of their names, but I like the people that are in front of me.
Oh, that's awesome. That makes a ton of sense. That culture is important and hard to create. With all the experience on the team between your mom with Inas, what is there any kind of piece of advice that one of them gave you or both of them throughout the year when you're starting off? Like what sticks out to you as far as like a really good piece of advice that meant a lot and helped you grow?
Yeah. For Beth, so she knows all of the contracts, the paperwork, laws. She knows all of that stuff, like front and back. She reads the Realtor magazine every single month that it comes out, and she's reading the, update about the legal aspects. So Beth really made sure. I mean, I remember this one morning when I was going through still taking my licenses, and she was drilling me on agency in New York, and she was asking me about all of the other forms, making sure that I understood it because she wanted to make sure that I would be able to successfully communicate it in front of a client if I have to do it on the spot. So that was, I think, one of the biggest things is know all these documents and know the contracts because Beth, had kind of warned me. She goes, agents will call you and they will be your best friend on the phone. They will be so nice and everything. And they sound like, you can trust them. She goes, but you never know what they're going to slip on that contract, hoping that you don't notice and that you sign it. And then, oh, it's a signed legal contract. He went to the attorneys. They approved it. Can't get out of it. She goes, that's your responsibility as, a listing agent or a buyer's agent to make sure that doesn't happen. So she taught me how to read the contracts and understand what the parts meant and what to look for. Because sure enough, it happened to me. It was my very first sales contingency deal. And we had gone through it, and I had told the buyer's agent, I said, yeah, we're not doing, the 5 day, 3 day. I said, we're doing 1 day. You have 1 day to lift that sales contingency if I get another offer. And she goes, oh my gosh, yes, of course. It's totally fine. And what did she put on the contract? 3. And I had to call her and say, no, no, no. We agreed on 1. And it was, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I just out of habit. She's trying to pull a fast one on me. I don't blame her. We're all doing the best for our clients, right? We're working for our clients. And so I truly think if Beth hadn't given me that tip, I probably would have missed it. I really, truly think I would have, because I was trusting, because, oh my gosh, the calls were great. We're having a great time. It was everything. So that's, I think, the biggest piece of advice. Know your contracts, and not trust no one, but trust but verify.
Absolutely. I love that. Those are great.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think I heard, I can't remember the details, but I remember talking to somebody here recently that had somebody, he told me he basically had to just at the closing table, just to move things along. He's just like basically forfeited his commission because of something like that. Somebody had written something in really fine print into the contract, and it was so fine, it was so illegible that the title company didn't see it either. And it to some extent, I don't know if it was like an extra commission bonus or something. I don't know I don't remember exactly what it was, but just, sitting at the closing table, the clients are like, I don't want to spend this extra, 3% or whatever it was. This is, crazy. Because the other person made a big stink about it at the closing table. And they like basically like, okay, fine. I'm just going to not get a commission on this whole deal at the closing table, and let's move forward. So you got to be careful.
Well, another piece of advice that I was given was don't answer your phone when you know a closing is happening because of a situation like that. Because at that point, it's out of your hands. It's between the attorneys. Really, there's nothing I can do to change anything, and that should be an attorney thing that gets handled, not coming after me for my money. So
Right.
that was I guess maybe another piece of advice. So, but yet I still like, so
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Luckily, our market is there's definitely some cutthroat kind of behavior, but for the most part, it's a tertiary market. It's kind of a small town, and people are generally fairly looking out for each other and working together, and standing up for their clients, of course, but not trying to pull fast ones, because reputation it spreads pretty fast too in this smaller market. So we're fortunate for that. Tell us about do you have some golden nuggets for us for our listeners in this?
Yeah, I think really the biggest thing is knowing your contracts, knowing all of your documents. One of my roles for the team now is to, any new agents or new members we onboard, and I want to make sure that you understand the contract, because you really truly never know if you're going to be out. I have been out at a bar, and the guy was like, hey, I'm getting ready to sell my house. I called a NOS, and the next morning we were over there going through it. You have to be prepared at any time to, I don't want to say pitch yourself, but you need to be able to know the contracts. That's really, I think, the biggest thing. Explaining why, and you also don't want to be in a listing presentation and you're talking about it. I go through the contract with my buyers and every buyer consult that I do, because it is a legal document. You are signing a legal document, and you should know what you are signing. It brings a lot of value, of course, to me. You're not just saying blindly sign here. So know the contracts, know the forms, and if you don't, recite it in a way that you would say it, not canned. You're reading it. You have to say it in a way that's going to make sense.
100%. That's a really good tip. And I think it's something that people should definitely practice if they haven't done it. Oftentimes in a pinch when we're not able to sign in person, I'm often sending a Loom video, going over the contract and just ironing out like paragraph by paragraph what you're going to say, making it funny at times too, because it's a long contract that's kind of boring. So giving funny examples of something that might make it a little bit more interesting to pay attention to. But I think that is a craft to hone. And if you don't feel confident in doing that, it might be worth asking an experienced agent to see what they do or how they do it. See if they'd spend some time with you doing it, because I think it does make a huge difference. If they'd be willing to do a Loom video for you, so you could kind of practice off of that, that'd be another way to get that. But that's a really good tip.
Yeah. One of the lines in the contract here, it's talking about modifications to the property, and the verbiage says erection of fences, garages, anything of that sort. And I always bring that up every single time because one, I'm seeing if you're paying attention to the fact that I'm actually saying erection of fences. And then I'm trying to also feel that vibe, like where are we also at? So, but it's crazy. They're like, why is this in here? And I'm like, well, there was obviously some deal that blew up over a fence. And so they had to add this in here. So it's the vibe check really for that point. And
That's funny.
the fact that you literally can use that statement in a professional setting is just also crazy.
Yeah, no, there's in our contract, there's, you can't remove like bushes and shrubs from the property. There was a lawsuit.
There was a lawsuit at some point. So they said, okay, well then we're just going to change the whole contract because you're shrub. Yeah.
What about a favorite book, one that you think that's fundamental that everybody should read, or just one you're currently enjoying?
To be completely honest with you, I'm a millennial and I read all of of course, like the fantasy things. Cause for me, when I like to read, I do it to disconnect from my world. I do it to shut my brain off. My Kindle has a sticker on the back that says reading, do not disturb. Cause when I get this opportunity to read, that's really what I'm going through there. I know I have a bunch of the books. I thought I had one around here. But one of them is The Art of Saying No, I believe. That's one I really do feel like I need to start because I always will say yes. I'll always jump through it. I try to remind myself if I'm not responsible for it, I'm not going to take accountability for it. And that's a big thing that I think about. But I probably should be better. I even said it that I say yes to everything and never say no. So it's probably a book I really should read.
So what book do you actually like?
Oh my God. I think it's going to hit a very, very small audience, but of course it's the ACOTAR series, A Court of Thorns and Roses. That's what I read. And I've gone all throughout there. I am currently reading Silver Elite by Danny Francis. It's just one of those things.
Sure.
Again, you just disconnect, turn my brain off. I like reading about the fantasy stuff because I know if a dragon actually comes down like from the sky, like it's just like everything's over. And I really don't have to worry about a fire-breathing dragon, blowing up my town. So it's quite all right.
I thought maybe you were prepping in preparation for it.
Oh God, no, I'm absolutely screwed if that's the case. Like, I'm not going to be a dragon rider. I'm not going to be able to train them or anything of the sort. Like, I'll just accept my fate. Yeah.
Now, what if people wanted to follow you or reach out to you in some way? What platforms are you on?
Yeah, so Instagram, it's simply House Huntin' with Austyn. Huntin' with no G and Austyn with a Y. It's the same thing across on YouTube, TikTok, in that regards there. Instagram is definitely where you can find me the most active in that place. It's just, I don't know, it's Instagram, it's social media in that regards. But yeah, so House Huntin' with Austyn, that's where you can find me.
Awesome. That should be linked in the show notes. Thank you so much for being on the show today, Austyn. It's been an incredible conversation. I know our audience is going to get a ton of value out of it. Thanks to everyone who's listening. If you got something out of today's episode, please take a moment to subscribe to the REI Agent podcast, wherever you listen to it. Leave us a review if you can. It truly helps us reach more agents and investors who are on this journey with us. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all other major platforms. Check out reiagent.com for some free tools and a CRM that is now being launched. It is a CRM for relationship-focused agents. We have relationship intelligence actually built into it. So if you like to track things like the Ford method, people's family, their kids' birthdays, their kids' names, that kind of thing, it will give you suggestions based off of that data. So definitely check it out, reiagent.com. Again, Austyn, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. This was super fun. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the REI Agent.
If you enjoyed this episode, hit subscribe to catch new shows every week.
Visit reiagent.com for more content.
Until next time, keep building the life you want.
All content in the show is not investment advice or mental health therapy. It is intended for entertainment purposes only.